virus or anything else, because we can't visit anyone in hospital, any dying relatives. Funerals are restricted as well to a handful of people. I've been to a COVID funeral. It's just unsatisfactory, I think, would be a very mundane way to describe it, but accurate. Now, to help everyone try to come to terms with the loss of a loved one, we are having a national Light Up in Yellow Remembrance Day, and the buildings in the centre of Hereford will be lit up on Tuesday evening. This is in the middle of Grief Awareness Week. We can now chat to local organiser and loss and wellbeing specialist Dawn Ford. Dawn, good morning to you.
Good morning, Kate.
Hi, thanks for coming on the show. So you're a specialist in loss and well-being and how to kind of marry the two together, I would imagine.
Yes, I've been doing that for 4 years now. Absolutely love it. It's a tough job, but it is so rewarding.
Yeah, very difficult conversation to have, but essential, I would imagine, around that.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. Absolutely.
So what's happening on Tuesday?
Okay, so on Tuesday, in line with the national campaign, Hereford will be having certain buildings and landmarks lit up in yellow. Most of them will be at 6 o'clock, though we do have two in High Town, the Butter Market and the Black and White House, and they're going to switch their lights on at 4:30.
Right, okay. So how did this begin and how long has it been going on for? And, who else is doing it?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so the Good Grief Trust, which is a charity, is spearheading this national campaign, and this is their second year. They're the UK's leading umbrella charity, bringing all bereavement services under one umbrella. So they've initiated this event and this week, and yes, I'm just coming on board to spread the word in Hereford.
And do you think that this will help people?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think at a time like this year with COVID, so many people have felt so disconnected that if we can do this Light Up in Yellow in public buildings and landmarks and maybe in people's homes, people will feel a sense of togetherness and community that we haven't felt. I think it's so important.
Yeah, it's the joining together, in your grief, but it's knowing that you're not alone, I think, is probably the healing part here.
It is the healing part, absolutely. And of course we can't meet, as you say, we can't do gatherings, we can't do what we used to do. And you mentioned earlier about funerals. So it's so disconnected. And I think from a grief point of view, it's quite actually overwhelming. So let's hope that we can, as a community in Hereford, and as I say, it's right through the country as well, we can have some sort of platform of togetherness at 6 o'clock on the 8th. Maybe that can happen.
And while I've got you on the line, Dawn, because it's a fascinating area, the grief that people are suffering when you lose a loved one, it's got to be, tripled, quadrupled, or just monumental when you can't be with that person at the end of their life because of all the restrictions in place. I don't know what coping mechanisms there are for something so tragic as that.
Yeah, well, that's such a good question. And I think there's just no words. It is monumental. I haven't actually experienced a bereavement this year through COVID, but I have spoken to people that have, and I think you mentioned earlier that you've been to a COVID funeral.
Yes.
And when I was listening to two sisters talk about their grandparents who died 2 weeks apart this year, and the way that they had to be separated, if you like, within the crematorium of the church. So one household was one side and one person that wasn't in that household was on another. I just thought, oh my God, unbelievable. And one was in a nursing home, so before she died, I think that was the grandma, they could only actually look through the window, and she died just a week later, and they couldn't say goodbye because she had COVID. There was no looking in the coffin, there was no going to the undertakers to actually see her. So unreal.
Well, thank goodness for people like you, Dawn, are doing what you're doing. Where can we find you? Because I'm sure there's bound to be somebody listening who perhaps may need your services.
Yes, of course. Well, so I have a website, which is www.dawnford.co.uk. I've also set up a Facebook page for this event, which is called the Hereford Grief Awareness Week 2020. And I'm inviting people to share photos and memories and anecdotes and stuff on that page. But another thing I wanted to say that I've added additional to this Light Up campaign is for everybody to light a candle at 6 o'clock on the 8th as well, where they can think of somebody that they've missed that has died, or somebody they know that is struggling. So if we could do that as well, and if you could, with your wonderful program and social media, if we could spread that word, because there's something so incredible about reflecting upon somebody and knowing other people again are doing the same. And
Yes.
I've got a local talent called Jacob Diamond,
Okay.
who very kindly agreed to sing Lean On Me and play his guitar to candlelight. And I'll share a link to that at 6 o'clock on that day, Tuesday the 8th of December.
That's magnificent. I'm actually very reassured to know that so much is going on. It's not, this is making the most of the opportunity to bring people together and remind everyone that there's someone there for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Kate.
So remind us of the Facebook page, Dawn. I'm going to have a look now.
Yes, of course. So it's the Hereford Grief Awareness Week 2020.
Hereford Grief Awareness Week 2020. I know there's stuff going on in Worcester as well. I was only having a conversation about that just last night.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so they'll be doing the lighting up of the buildings too.
Yeah,
It's really important, I think, now more than ever, don't you, this year?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, as you said, you can't hug people and everything's measured in risk factors.
I know.
And we're social beings. We need to be, we like to be together. We need to be close. And I'm a huge hugger, as everybody that knows me is aware of. And it's just awful not being able to hug somebody and support them in that way.
Oh, yeah. Dawn. There's nothing more to say about it. There's no point sugarcoating. It's awful. It's awful.
It is awful.
But,
there is no
temporary,
way
we hope. Temporary, we hope.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, but let's hope the event brings people together.
Yeah, I do hope so, and that it gives people some sense of, calm, at least. Dawn, thanks ever so much for that chat this morning. It's really good to speak to you, and thanks for everything that you're doing as well for the Grief Awareness Week. Thank you.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Kate, for having me on the programme.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you. Bye
And
for
you.
now.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Dawn Ford, definitely someone I would like to talk to at a time of grief. She's got one of those soothing voices, hasn't she? I hope anybody listening that has had to suffer from grief at all throughout this COVID time or any other time took a bit of comfort from that conversation. So Dawn is a loss and wellbeing specialist. And of course, you can get involved by lighting your own candle. Light Up in Yellow this Tuesday as part of the Grief Awareness Week. And have a look on the Facebook page for that live guitar moment, which I think will be very poignant indeed.